You might know I'm a news freak. I've been a journalist for a long time. I used to love reading the newspaper, the San Jose Mercury News, and my hometown newspaper. But those days have disappeared for me, and I got my news from the computers just like you do. But today I'm going to see something new from Tackable, which is going to change the world of journalism for the local newspaper. Who are you?
So my name is Luke Stangel. I'm one of the co-founders of Tackable. We're a new startup that's incubated inside of the San Jose Mercury News, and we're building some new software for them. I'm 28. I spent 7 years as a reporter. We actually have a similar background. I dropped out of journalism school at San Jose State as well, and I love journalism. This startup really came out of that. We really wanted to build something that's going to change and help journalism.
Yeah. And first of all, what is it? It's an iPad app because you showed me your iPad. But what is it really?
Yeah. So imagine cutting up your newspaper into 10,000 little pieces and putting the best of the best on a map. The best articles, the best deals, the best coupons, the best ads, the best events, and also bringing in community. So bringing in what your neighbors are talking about, placing that on a map and making it real time and social. So that's what we're building, essentially a newspaper on a map.
So last night at San Jose State, the fraternity burned down. I think that story would be on the map where it actually happened.
That's correct.
That's cool. And then you can take me around what it looks like, just mentally. What would I see when I use the app?
Sure. So the primary navigation is through a map. It figures out where you are, and it starts to pull in articles that are nearby. You can also search for events that are happening in your neighborhood. You can search for photos that other people have taken and submitted to this app. You're able to drag a pin over, say, and talk about something that's happening in this particular location. It's multi-layered, so you're able to turn off layers and look at exactly what you're interested in, and really drill down to what's happening in your hyperlocal area.
Yeah, and you just click on each of the icons, and up pops the headline. Then you can click in and read the full article, sort of like a flipboard kind of view.
Exactly. Yeah, and everything is married to location. So the exact intersection of the shooting, you're going to see that article from the newspaper. You can also see user-generated content that came in around the same time. So either messages or photos, comments from people who were there.
Yeah. A lot of news this makes sense for, right? If there's a shooting on a certain street corner, you want to know that, or if you're going to Napa, for instance, for a weekend, you want to see if there's any concerts or special crush parties or
Right.
events that you need to know about. But there's a lot of news that's like evergreen, what we call in the journalism world evergreen, or stuff that's not location based, right? How do you display that kind of news?
If you're going to be successful at content, you do one of two things. Either you specialize or you localize. So, Scobalizer, you specialize in technology news. And that's news that happens anywhere. You're just as interested in a startup in New York as you are a startup here in the Valley. And sometimes you have stories that occur all over the world. If I'm writing a story about Android, does that sit above the Googleplex, or does that sit above the entire world because everyone has Android? And so for those stories, it's really difficult to find a location. Newspapers do localization really, really well. When there is that shooting that happens, or if you hear a big boom outside, you want to know where that happened, when it happened, what it happened to, and that does really, really well on a map.
Yeah. The other part of news that's changed since I was in journalism school was everybody has a cell phone now with a camera on it. And so if there is a big fire, or an earthquake, everybody has their experience. Like this bookshelf would fall down in an earthquake, and I could take a picture of it and share it with everybody, right? How do you display those kinds of very micro style, citizen journalism style news?
It's so fascinating. After there's a large scale event, a concert, or recently they had the riots in Vancouver. you see just this massive amount of content that's being produced. This is content that's going up on YouTube. It's tweets, it's blog entries, it's photos, it's stuff on Flickr, and you can really comb through all of this and really experience what it was like on the ground, and that supplements the official record that you get from the newspaper. And what you get is this really rich experience where I can read what the police are saying, I can read the official account, and I can also see everything that everybody caught. I read recently that that the riots had something like 1 million photos, user-generated photos that were uploaded to the internet, and something like 10,000 hours of content uploaded to YouTube, which is just absolutely amazing. For us to ignore user-generated content would be a major mistake. For us, we allow people to take photos, upload them to this map, and have them appear instantly where that photo was taken. And you can surf around the map. You can see stuff that's happening. For example, that fire recently at San Jose State, you can read the official account, but you can also see what's happening, what other people took there at that intersection.
News on maps is interesting, especially using that riot example. During the riot, you want to avoid the area. And is there a way for you to warn people, stay away from this area? It's a growing news story and it's dangerous.
We haven't really built a system where you can warn people. What you can do though is you can pull a message over to this location, and you can write what you know about that location. So maybe you're a shopkeeper and you're seeing something huge going down, and you're like, definitely stay away from here. You can get onto this app, you can pull it over, and you can start to essentially tell other people, this is what I know about this area, this is what you should know.
Right, but there's not a flame on the map that shows you something is hot right now or trending.
That's
or
actually really
like
cool.
That.
We should do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing that the maps are really good for is conditions are changing traffic. Are you overlaying other data on top of the map along with the journalism that you're gathering from the professional journalism sources?
Yeah, absolutely. So the map is like a 10-layer cake. So there's lots and lots of different layers of information. So there's the professional news content, there's the user-generated citizen journalism content, there's events, there's deals, there's ads, and there's a lot of automated information. We're pulling in a traffic feed that's going to be part of version 1. We're pulling in weather, so you'll be able to open up this app in the morning and get a really good sense of what's happening around you, what your neighbors are talking about, what the newspaper is talking about, and even how the commute is going to be over the hill.
Yeah, how's this going to fit into other things we're doing on our iPad to get news? I mean, Flipboard's my favorite example, but there's Zeit and there's Pulse and there's Feedly. We've interviewed some of those companies, but there's so many news apps. The BBC has there's so many different news apps. Are you working to build your technology into other companies' apps?
Yeah, we're working right now to build an API that will allow other people to place content on this map. We're hoping to get that API out later this year. I'm a huge fan of Flipboard. I know that you are too. I heard you speak.
I'm thinking of building your app into Flipboard so that I could see headlines the way we've traditionally seen them as, headlines laid out, and then flip over and see a map view because I like the two views.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for certain data, it's really important to have a location for that content, and there hasn't really been a good way to figure out exactly where this story is happening. We're trying to solve that problem so that you can go to Napa and open this up, and you can pull in, this is the most popular story from Napa today. Here's the most buzzed about story from Napa today. Here's what your friends are saying about Napa or something like that. But really the first step is getting that location data in there and making it really part of this integrated experience.
Very cool. I was just at Disneyland, which is all about a map, right? That's what they hand you when you walk in the door. Could you build something for Disney that uses your algorithms to pull in information, to do other kinds of information from the Disney sources?
We haven't really explored that yet. I know that we're kicking around ideas of building really specialized versions of this. So, like maybe it's just Napa Valley. So it's just wine deals, for example, and maybe that's a layer that you can turn on and off inside of this Uber app. You know, maybe you turn on this Disney layer of information when you're in that area. You can turn it off, or it disappears when you're gone.
Yeah. Well, it's really neat because playing around with it, you can go over to Oakland and see all the news from Oakland. Then you can go up to the wine country, see that, or go to Japan, see the news in Tokyo, for instance.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to move the map around and see the news pop up. Tell me a little bit about the business. How are you guys going to make money with this? The deals, I have a feeling there's something there, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways that you can make money on a map. You know, we're exploring that. Deals are a great way to make money on a map. You know, you're here in Half Moon Bay. You're primarily interested in restaurants that are here in Half Moon Bay. We can push that out to you. There's also advertising. You know, advertisers want to speak to particular people in a demographic, and we can really target those people. And because it's live, we can even target it by time. So it's 12 o'clock. You know, you're going to see a lunchtime deal. That advertiser is creating a really efficient ad because they're really targeting it to the time and location of where you are right now. And that's another one of the great things about partnering with large media organizations, because they have these big sales forces who can go out and create a lot of these ads for this map, and they do really well on the map, and not necessarily really well on the broader desktop.
Yeah. Technically, how are you gathering all this information and displaying it on the map? Because you're not just dealing with San Jose Mercury News' photos. You're or news articles. You're dealing with all. Well, tell me what you're dealing with and how it works.
Yeah. So
under the hood.
So for version 1 of the product, it's going to launch here in the Bay Area in partnership with the Bay Area News Group. So the Bay Area News Group runs a couple dozen newspapers here. San Jose Mercury News, the Oakland Tribune, and the Contra Costa Times are the big ones. And so those newspapers share content. And so what we're doing is we're pulling that content in and placing it on a map. But we're also using other feeds of information. We have an event feed. We have a deal engine that the newspaper runs. And really the larger goal is to turn this into a platform so that we can go and take this to Seattle, and Seattle can plug into all of their stuff and really replicate this around the country.
Yeah. Are you thinking about how to deal with all the new location-based stuff? Because I use an app called Sonar, which shows me who's checked in my local area, and I know which restaurants are always popular because they're always full of people who've checked in there. Are you thinking of taking the Foursquare and Facebook Places and other data and putting that on top of the map?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we have these different layers that people can turn on and off, it makes a lot of sense to take high quality data and to place it on this map as a new layer. If we find that Foursquare has some really great information, or maybe Yelp reviews or something like that, we can definitely put this on there. And hopefully our API is going to encourage other people to say, I can put my stuff here as well. I can create a layer of information and really allow the user to turn those on and off and to tell us what they want.
Yeah. How do you price the app again?
So the app is free. Okay. But we're playing around with different ways to make money. We may charge for a subscription. It may be a per article fee. I mean that's a question that we're going to be ironing out before the launch.
Okay, and it's only iPad today. Are you thinking of the other tablets? I mean, there's tablets coming out of the woodwork right now.
Yeah. We chose the iPad initially because it's such a high quality platform. The documentation is really great for it. The experience is incredible on the iPad. But our very next task is going to be to build this for other platforms.
Very cool. And anything else I need to know about it and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, you wrote a blog entry a couple of years ago about how newspapers are dead, and it's It's an idea that you hear a lot, and I don't think that people are saying that journalism is dead. And I don't think that people are saying that that the news industry is necessarily a bad industry. It's that it's married to a format that is increasingly not working for the majority of people. When you think about what the newspaper of the future looks like, the newspaper that your kids are going to be reading, what does that look like? Is it exactly what we have now, or is it something else? For us, we think a lot about that, and we think about location. How important is location when it comes to news? The speed of content discovery, personalization, that kind of thing. And this product for us is really the first step in building this super futuristic newspaper, something that you open up and it knows you. It sends you stuff that you're going to want to know, sends you stuff that's local and relevant to you, and social allows you to talk to your neighbors as well.
Very cool. Well, I'm interested in trying it out and getting it on my iPad. So thank you so much for coming out and giving me a first look at it.
Yeah, thanks so much.